GPT can become a small support team inside your course as long as each GPT has a clear job. And that's the key. You don't build one giant GPT that does everything. Though that sounds efficient, it usually becomes messy. You want to build specific helpers for specific jobs. Maybe one tutor, one to cover the syllabus, one to be a study coach, one to be a scenario practice tool, one to act as a historical figure simulation, if that fits your course. The first use case is the one we just built, a course tutor. This is for students who need help understanding concepts. The second use case for a custom GPT is a 24/7 course chatbot, and this is about course logistics. You may upload your syllabus, the schedule, assignment directions, grading policy, late work policies, rubrics, and then students can ask, when is this due? What does this assignment require? How many references do I need? Where do I submit this? What does the rubric mean? I would still tell students the syllabus and Canvas or your learning management system is the official sources. The third use case for a custom GPT is a study coach. And this GPT can create practice questions, explain wrong answers, generate flashcard style review, create mini quizzes, and ask students to explain concepts back to it. For this one, I would tell the GPT, do not just quiz students. After each answer, explain why the answer is right or wrong, and ask a follow-up question to deepen understanding. The fourth use case is a scenario coach. This one I love for criminal justice. You can have the GPT give students a scenario and ask them what they would do next. For an example, a police officer responds to a domestic disturbance call. The parties give conflicting statements. What should the officer consider before making a decision? Or a probation officer is reviewing a violation report. What factors should they consider before recommending revocation? This helps students practice judgment, not just memorize definitions. And that's where AI can actually reinforce thinking. If you teach history, political science, literature, philosophy, ethics, something like that, you could create a GPT that lets students interact with a historical figure, author, philosopher, or public leader. You need to be careful though. You should upload source material, speeches, letters, writing, interviews, or public domain documents. You should also tell students clearly that this is an AI simulation based on source material, not the actual person. An example might be maybe you want them to talk with Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe you want this student to discuss the literature works of Mark Twain. You would upload information on those two figures, and then the student could ask questions as if the GPT was that person. What should you avoid? I do have a few warnings before everyone starts building a GPT per week and naming them like your pets. First, don't build a GPT that completes graded work. That will undermine the exact thinking you're trying to protect. Second, don't upload materials you don't have the right to upload. That could be publisher textbooks, test banks, student work, protected documents, and private data. Third, do not assume the GPT's always right. Even a grounded GPT can make mistakes. Students should be told to check course materials, ask questions, and verify anything that seems off. Fourth, don't make the GPT too broad. A GPT called Help for Course Assistant is vague. A GPT called Professor Chris's Introduction to Criminology Tutor has a clear job. Fifth, do not build one GPT and expect it to do every teaching job. A tutor and a syllabus chatbot are not the same job. A study coach and a grading assistant are not the same job. A historical figure simulation and a writing helper are definitely not the same job. Give each one a clear role. Also, do not skip the student-facing instructions. Students need to know what the GPT is for, what it's not for, and how they're allowed to use it. So how do you roll this out to your students? This is how I introduce my custom GPTs to my students. I do not just drop the link into my learning management system and hope for the best. I instead create a short Canvas page or LMS page that says something to the effect of, this GPT is a study support tool for this course. And then I list ways to use it. Maybe it's reviewing concepts, asking clarification questions, quizzing yourself, understanding rubrics, practicing scenarios, prepping for exams. I also include instructions for what it's not used for, such as writing your assignment, generating your discussion posts, answering quizzes, replacing your course reading, submitting AI work as your own. And then I also add, you're responsible for checking the course material and using your own thinking. The GPT is a support tool. It's not the official source for course policy. So I make sure in these instructions that the syllabus, assignment instructions, that the rubrics are still the official sources for the course. Many times I also give my students some sample prompts so they know exactly how to interact with the GPT. Those could be like, explain this concept in simpler terms, quiz me on this week's material, ask me one scenario question about policing discretion, help me understand what this rubric's asking for. I got this practice question wrong. Why? And then I will add a small reflection assignment, something like, use this course GPT to review one concept from this week. Let's recap. Here's the process. First, decide what kind of custom assistant you're building. Is it a tutor? Is it a syllabus chatbot? Is it a study coach? Is it a scenario practice tool or a writing helper? Or is it that historical figure simulation? Second, ask AI to help you write the custom instructions. Using the brief framework of background, role, inputs, expectations, and format, ask AI to help write custom instructions. Don't stare at that blank instruction box, but instead describe what you want to build and let AI help draft the instructions. Next, give that GPT a job description and a resume. That helps define the role and makes the behavior more consistent. Name it like a team member. The name should tell students what the assistant does. Upload the right course materials such as your syllabus, rubrics, lecture notes, assignment directions, study guides, job description, resume, and sources you have permission to use. Then test it like a student would use it. Ask it good questions. Ask it messy questions. Ask it confused questions. Ask it the cheating question. Ask something outside the course material and see what it gives you, and then refine it based on that. That's how you build something useful.